Hey guys. Yeah. How you guys doing? Well guys, the Explorer 04 is back. How you guys been doing? I've been doing great. Just been trying to figure out how to get this computer back on and how to get it to work again. And luckily I had found a charger. I bought it. It was brand new. And I'm so glad that it ended up working on this computer. And now is marking the beginning again for the channel to start up again. And since I am back, I figured I'd kick off the very first return video. Besides the video that I did for entertainment, you know, the video that I did before, just called Return. That was just sort of like my return video. But to do an actual first video back, I want to do a movie review. And since this YouTuber that I know had sent me this movie a while back, and I still haven't reviewed it yet, and I wanted to apologize to him real quick before I get into the video. I just wanted to say, first of all, that this was a suggestion. This was sent to me from another YouTuber, a friend of mine, and he's also friends with MW Hill, and his name is Fear Soldier X. And I wanted to give him a shout out real quick in this video. He's also friends with MW Hill. Want to give him a shout out as well. But Fear Soldier X actually sent me this movie and requested for me to review, and I figured, you know, since I wasn't busy at the time, why not check out this film? Because this movie interested me. I didn't even know this was actually made until he had showed me this and was like, hey, you want to do a review on this? I'm like, sure. So he sent me this movie to do a review on it, so I will do a review on it. And yeah, shout out to Fear Soldier X and MW Hill. Links to their channels in the description below. Thank you so much, Fear Soldier X, for sending me this movie and having me check it out. It was definitely a pretty fun time to watch, and today I'll be doing a review on it. So this movie is obviously Always Watching a Marble Hornets Story. Now, to show you guys the case real quick before we get into the review, I really like the way that the case is designed. Definitely a cool front cover. Now, Always Watching is a film that I had never really heard about. Now, it came out in 2015. Unfortunately, it gets a 4.8 on IMDb. Do I think it deserves to be that low? No, I don't. James, I almost said moron, but his name is James Moran. And I swear, if you read it fast, it's almost as I thought his name was Moron. I swear to you guys, I thought his name was Moron, James Moran. But it's James Moran. And apparently he's the second unit director of Punch Drunk Love, Paranormal Activity 3, Ouija, Origin of Evil. And this is really the only movie that he's actually directed. And, you know, for the longest time I was always wondering if they were going to make movies based off of creepypastas. For those of you that aren't familiar with creepypastas, those are basically internet scary stories. Basically stories made on this website called Creepypasta. And they are, you know, custom-made stories by people who get on there, and they make some pretty cool stuff. I've read a lot of really good creepypastas that just, you know, literally will keep you up at night. I mean, there are some legit creepy, no pun intended, creepypastas out there. I'm being honest, guys. I mean, there really is some creepy, you know, stories out there. And, you know, going into them, I'm usually like, you know, their stories, maybe they'll be decent, maybe they won't scare me that much. But no, legit though, legit, creepypastas are actually pretty creepy if they're done well. If they're just, oh, let's pull out a gore in there and have it be gory and gruesome and no story, no characters, no weight to the actual story, then that's when I don't like creepypastas, because, like, you know, there are some stories that just rely heavily on gore, and that's about it. But what really is, you know, an awesome creepypasta is when there's a very strong story, there's very good characters, it's a very realistic type story. A lot of the stories are, like, you know, relatable, you know, video games, you know, Sonic, Legend of Zelda, and stuff like that, Mario. There are creepypastas about them. And, you know, there are definitely icons from creepypastas, you know, Jeff the Killer. And then this movie is covering Slender Man. You also have Sonic.exe. You have Smile Dog. You have, was it Laughing Jack? I think it's Laughing Jack. and you have like Red Mist and Dead Bart. You have all these like you know top-notch creepypasta either characters or stories, and I was always wondering if they would make like Dread the Killer a movie, if they would actually make a Slender Man movie. And it's pretty awesome to know that yes, there is a Slender Man movie out there. And to be honest, going into this movie, I was expecting it to be a fun time, but the fact that I never heard anything about it, I was definitely going into it open-minded. I was definitely going into it and seeing what it was made of, seeing what the movie was, and for what it is, it's honestly a pretty decent, fun time. Now, is it like a classic? Is it a masterpiece? I personally will not say it is, but is it a fun, decent, fast-paced watch? Definitely. And the idea intrigues me. The idea of making Slender Man into a movie, I think, is just very intriguing and interesting. Um, yeah, the story behind the movie is kind of basic, and the characters. Acting was not bad in this movie. I will say that right now. The acting was not bad. I think the character development was not the greatest. There's a couple of moments where the development, you can tell they're trying to, but there's not enough time to actually develop these characters. There are a few moments, though. I'm not going to sit here and say there's no moments where those characters not being developed, like where there's no development of the characters at all. But I felt like it needed to be a little bit more. We needed to know a little bit more about these characters in order to care about them. And they were trying to, but they were running out of time, and there wasn't a lot of time to invest in building these characters up. There's a few moments that I didn't mind, like when the lead guy and lead girl, they used to be a couple, and they're sitting down, they're talking about how this guy is still working with the team, and he did it because he still loved her and stuff like that. That moment, decent character building. The moments where they're actually working together. I will also say that this isn't one of those movies where the whole team just says, screw all of you guys, and they all disband, and they all, pretty much go in separate ways, and they freaking do the stupid decision and just split up and, all die that way. I do like how this team sticks together. I do like how the team does not give up on what they're going to do. The movie, I feel like, also has a great mood. I feel like at times the atmosphere can be very foreboding, and it can be very dark. And, the idea that Slender Man is this powerful, it's good, but I feel like the power of the Slender Man in this movie, first of all, there's things they didn't touch on, like, they got the teleportation down. They got the mind control down, even though I did not know that Slender Man could control your mind like that. I really did not know that. But there's also a thing where he has like these tentacles that come out, like in the stories and stuff like that, and he uses those to, if somebody's trying to escape, he just grabs them or whatever. And I also like the idea that they use the cameras. Like, you would be wondering, why would they be using cameras? And I like how you can't see the Slender Man unless you use cameras. And it made it to where, yeah, it's a found footage movie, and it's like, why are you recording everything? But I like how in this movie they tried to explain that, The only way that you can see the Slender Man is through the camera lens, so they have to keep cameras on at all times. And it definitely is different. I can say that, because a lot of, found footage movies, like Paranormal Activity, recording the house, even though there's all this stuff going on, they're still at the house recording this entity. The first movie, at least it, I don't know. For me, in the first Paranormal Activity, I could deal with it, and also for the fact that they tried to get out of the house, but they came back and it was just still there, and also they even were told not to go out the house because it just make it worse. So in the first movie, I can understand it. The second, the third, and the fourth, and the fifth. Well, not the fifth. The fifth movie, I didn't really mind. The sixth movie, I have not seen yet because it's the freaking Ghost Dimension, and it looked goofy and silly and stupid. So I'll see that movie whenever I can, whenever I'm interested, which will probably be never. But one day I probably will sit down and watch Paranormal Activity freaking Part 6, the Ghost Dimension, whatever the freak that movie is. Freaking look goofy as heck. But in those movies, there's moments where it's like, why are you still recording? Why is there still cameras set up? And in this movie, I like how they explain that. The only way that you can actually see the Slender Man is through a camera lens. And an interesting idea. I don't remember if it was even mentioned, or if it was mentioned maybe one time. I just didn't catch it. But they actually don't call him the Slender Man. And I don't know if that's for better or for worse, because I mean, would it be necessary to actually say Slender Man's name in the movie? Oh yeah, that's the creature, the Slender Man. Because would that take away a little bit of reality? I get it. It's the Slender Man. It's not really the most realistic story, but would mentioning the name the Slender Man take away from the story, or would it add to it? That's something that I was thinking about. Cause I'm like, man, they never really mentioned the Slender Man's name in this movie, And it's kind of weird because I'm listening and I'm like, I didn't catch a mention of the Slender Man's name at all in this movie, which, like I said, for better or for worse, it could have damaged the story. So I'm glad they took the safe route and just decided to just make it to where it's this creature. We don't know what it is. It has these, anonymous powers, and they gotta figure out what to do with this creature. And the story is very basic. I mean, it starts off, and this couple at this party, they meet, and they're getting ready to do it, and then it cuts to a little bit later on, and they have both separated, and he is still a camera guy for this news crew, and it's him, his girlfriend, another dude, and they're pretty much friends still, and they basically are doing these stories about these houses that are abandoned, and they go to this one house, and it ends up having all the stuff there, all the furniture, all the toys, everything was pretty much left there, picture frames, everything, the furniture and everything. The property was pretty much untouched, and everything was left very mysteriously. And they go down in the basement and they find a bunch of the symbols for the Slender Man, which they even mentioned in the movie. It's kind of like the Zodiac symbol. It's kind of like it, but instead of the plus, it's the X. Or I think that's how the Zodiac symbol looks. This is like a circle with an X through it. So they even mentioned in the movie like it's like a Zodiac symbol. And it's definitely a creepy symbol because he goes down to the basement. That's another thing about the atmosphere is when it's dark, it's not too dark, and they use it to have a very foreboding atmosphere. A lot of times horror movies, they make it too dark and you can't see what's going on. But here, it was used well. It was lit well enough to where I could see what was going on, and it was also pretty creepy. You see these, symbols all over the walls, and they find these tapes, start watching the tapes, investigating it, and they're trying to figure out who this is, and then the Slender Man catches on to them, and you see him appear in the background, and some, the footage here and there. And then they try to end up stopping him, and that's pretty much the movie. They're trying to figure out what's going on and trying to figure out how to stop this creature and how to, stop this process of the Slender Man pretty much, possessing people. And the story, is it the most engaging? I don't know. It's not like it's a stupid story, and it's not too overdrawn. It's kind of basic, They're investigating, and it's all kind of basic, and the twist's kind of basic, where the family ended up getting, like, if you haven't seen this movie, spoiler alert, but at the end of the movie, there's definitely a twist, and it's kind of like one of those twists where I was like, alright, it's a little shocking, but, I don't know, it's where it's definitely a dark idea where, the father, he becomes so obsessed with the Slender Man that he gets possessed by the Slender Man, and he kills the daughter. A very dark scene. And he almost kills the wife, and the wife pushes him down the stairs and kills him, and she takes gasoline and pretty much pushes it throughout the entire house, and lights up the house and catches it on fire. And, later on, she's in the asylum, tells about the story and stuff like that. And the end of the movie is pretty much your cliche found footage movie ending. The lead guy gets possessed after the Slenderman makes him hang himself. he kills the other two people in the group, and that's pretty much the end of the movie. And yeah, I mean, it is, as far as found footage movies go, it is kind of cliche. You know, there's a few moments where there's jump scares, lots of shaky cam, like even more. Usually in found footage movies, there's shaky cam, but it's to the point where it's usually, for me at least, it's not giving me a headache. Here, the shaky cam was bad. When it was happening, it was freaking bad, and it was kind of hard to tell what was going on. The music, I don't really remember any music in the movie. There's a lot of sound effects I liked really good. I mean, they were definitely very creepy. Script, for what it was, for what this movie is, I mean, it's a pretty decent script. A couple things that bothered me, though, is it's like, the Slender Man doesn't really, I mean, maybe it's because of how powerful this individual is. He doesn't do much. You know, he just sort of stays in the background. Most of the time, he's possessing people. And I like the idea, but I would have liked to see Slender Man do a little bit more than just appear in the background, pop up a few times, and possess a couple people. You know, I would have liked to see a little bit more, but for what it is a decent movie. I do think that this movie is definitely a fun watch, and it's interesting to see a movie based off the Slender Man, and it's honestly a pretty fun and decent film. Is it a masterpiece? You know, it's far from that. But, you know, it is a fun, decent horror film. It is a fun found footage movie, which is very rare to find nowadays. It is a pretty good time. I will say that. But anyways, guys, that's my review of Always Watching. And I want to thank you guys for watching the video. And I want to thank Fear Soldier X for sending me the movie and having me check out the movie. It was definitely a fun watch, and I really enjoyed it. But shout out to Fear Soldier X and MW Hill. Links in the description below. Thanks, guys, so much for watching. It's good to be back. And the Explorer of Horror has returned. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you guys in the next review. Bye, guys.